posing as imaginary people, fabricating threats, forging a false narrative online that led to a real-world nightmare.
Though social media's intended use is to connect with people, in some cases they'll also disconnect. So what happens when you disconnect with the wrong people? In this week's episode of Caught, presented by Catfish, we're going to take you to the quiet neighbor-loving town of Mountain City, Tennessee. With a population of only 2,500 people, this small town experienced one of the most cold-blooded catfish murders we've seen. The story begins in 2005. 31-year-old Jenelle Potter and her family moved to the small town of Mountain City, Tennessee. Jenelle lived with her parents, Buddy and Barbara Potter, at the time because of her many disabilities, and her parents were very protective over her. Jenelle had strict curfews and was even monitored when she was on the computer or on the phone.
Did your parents have access to your Facebook page? Did they monitor it?
Yes.
A woman in your late 20s and your parents have access to your Facebook page?
Well...
Her mother, Barbara, stated that she needed to be protected because even though she was 31 years old, she had the mind of a 10-year-old. Jenelle had a very difficult time socializing outside of her home, with her only friends being stuffed animals and the people she had met online. Fast forward to 2009. Jenelle makes a new friend in town by the name of Tracy Greenwell. Having never been with a man, Jenelle told Tracy that she wanted a boyfriend. Tracy wanted to help out, so she decided to introduce Jenelle to her lovable and charismatic brother, Billy Payne. Jenelle became very infatuated with him and later became obsessed. Billy was known to be a very nice guy and would help out members in his community. Instead of hooking up with Jenelle, Billy set her up with his cousin Jamie Curd, a much older man that developed strong feelings for Jenelle. Unfortunately, the feelings weren't mutual, as Jenelle wanted to be with Billy. Nevertheless, Jamie and Jenelle began dating secretly, as Jenelle didn't want her parents to know. Jamie would come around the house and act as if he was a family friend, doing repair work on their computer. As time passed, Billy started dating Billie Jean Hayworth, and their relationship started moving fast. Jenelle did not like this. To Jenelle, this friendly town that she had moved to was unfortunately not so friendly to her. It just so happened that at the same time Billy had become engaged with Billie Jean, Jenelle was being heavily cyberbullied. She was also receiving threats of rape and physical violence. Even though these posts were anonymous, Jenelle was convinced that it was Billie Jean. When asked why Jenelle thinks it was her, she replied that Billie Jean was jealous because she was too pretty.
Why would they be harassing?
It came out to be a jealousy thing. They said I was too pretty.
As the cyberbullying continued, Jenelle, Billy, and Billie Jean unfriended each other, and this is where things turned for the worse. Barbara, Jenelle's mom, then started receiving emails from a CIA agent named Chris. He sent emails to her saying that he was there to protect Jenelle from what was going on online. He was also there to make sure that she didn't get hurt. Surprisingly, Jamie Curd also started receiving texts from the same CIA agent. Chris would tell them things that only someone close to them would know. He also stated that he was talking to Billy and Billie Jean. He explained to them that he had heard that they were coming up with an elaborate plan to kill Jenelle. After a while, the family decided to take matters into their own hands. Warning: the details in this next part of the story may be graphic. Viewer discretion is advised. January 31st, 2012. Billy and Billie Jean were both shot and killed execution style in their home.
The inside of this house on James Davis Road is a double murder scene.
The two victims have not been in trouble with the law, which makes this case even more troublesome as to why it happened.
Their 7-month-old son, Tyler, was miraculously unharmed, but he was covered in blood since he was in Billie Jean's arms when she was murdered. As Special Agent Scott Lott with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation began this case, he immediately went to the Potter residence for questioning. He noticed that Jenelle's father, Buddy, was acting very strange and defensive.
Everybody always points a finger at us for something.
Oh no, there ain't nobody pointing their fingers.
So he brought him and Jamie Curd in for questioning. Detective Lott was able to get a confession out of both of them, but as they spoke more, Jamie had provided a key point to Agent Lott. Jamie had asked if CIA agent Chris was at the station.
Is the CIA here?
CIA? No. No.
But after hearing this, Agent Lott began to dive deeper into the investigation, as there may have been others involved in the double murder. After searching the IP address of the email account Chris had been using to message Barbara and Jamie, they found the IP was linked to the Potter residence.
Chris was you.
No.
You are Chris. You invented him like you invented other characters.
No, I didn't.
You didn't.
No.
It was from your IP address, from your email address. Everything leads back to Chris. Chris apparently created this scenario.
In August of 2013, with substantial evidence, authorities were able to arrest Jenelle and her mother. Then, in October 2013, Buddy, Jenelle's father, was found guilty and received 2 life sentences, while Jamie Curd received a plea deal of 25 years in prison. Fast forward to May of 2015, Jenelle and her mother were put on trial. Even though both of them pleaded innocence, they were both found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison in July of 2015. And so concludes the infamous case of Jenelle Potter. For more information on this case, please feel free to visit our blog in the description. Also, leave a comment in the comment section down below if you want to hear more episodes like this. Please feel free to follow us on Instagram and other social medias. Hit that subscribe button and notification bell to be notified when the next episode of Caught presented by Catfish goes live.